Okay, let's dive into the heart of any project, really. I don't care if you're building a rocket ship or just planning a weekend camping trip. It always boils down to two fundamental questions. How long is this going to take, and how much is it going to cost? Answering those correctly, well, that's one of the hardest but most absolutely critical things you'll ever do. You know, everything, and I mean everything, hinges on that first estimate you make. And I love this quote because it's so true. If your yardstick is off from the very beginning, you're starting on the wrong foot. You could be setting yourself up for failure before you've even started.
So the big question is, how do you make a yardstick you can actually rely on? Well, the key is realizing that not all yardsticks are the same. You need the right tool for the job, and that all depends on where you are in your project's life cycle.
So let's talk about why this is all so important. I mean, why is this the foundation of everything? Because a good estimate, it's so much more than just a couple of numbers on a spreadsheet. Think about it. Estimates are basically the lifeblood of project control. They help you decide if a project is even worth doing in the first place. They set your budget, they create your timeline, and then they become the baseline that you measure all your progress against. Pretty much every major decision you make flows from that initial estimate. So when we talk about how to actually do this, it really comes down to two main philosophies, two completely different ways of thinking about the problem of estimating. You can think of it like this. Are you using a telescope or a microscope? With a telescope, you're starting way up high, looking at the big picture. That's the top-down approach. Or you can grab a microscope and start from the bottom, looking at every tiny little piece and adding them all up. And right here, you can see the trade-offs really clearly. Top-down is your go-to for that early, fuzzy conceptual phase. When you're just kicking around ideas and asking, hey, is this even possible? But bottom-up, that comes later, when the details are pinned down and you need that precision for your budget, your schedule, and for keeping things on track. All right, so let's start from that 30,000-foot view, the top-down method. How does this quick and dirty ballpark estimate actually work? Well, the simplest version is something called analogous estimating. It sounds really fancy, but it's basically just a way of saying, hey, what did a similar project cost us last time? You're using a mix of history and, frankly, some good old-fashioned expert intuition. Let's make this real. Our friend John is planning a move. He can get an analogous estimate just by calling up a buddy who moved recently from a similar place. His friend's experience gives him a fast, top-down number. Now, is it perfect? Nope. But it's quick, and it gives him a ballpark figure to start with. Okay, so now let's switch from the telescope to the microscope. What happens when John uses the complete opposite approach and builds his estimate from the ground up, piece by painful piece? Instead of just a rough guess, he gets super granular. He makes a list of every single thing he's going to need, every box, every roll of packing tape, the furniture pads, you name it. He finds the price for each one and then adds it all up. Yeah, it's way more work, but the total he gets is much more comprehensive. And here is the real difference, right? It's all about precision. That quick guess was definitely in the right neighborhood, for sure. But the detailed plan, that gives John a much, much more accurate picture of what he should actually expect to spend. But look, making the estimate is really just step one. Once the wheels are in motion and the project's underway, how in the world do you track if you're sticking to that plan? To do that, we use this really powerful technique called earned value management. Now, it sounds super complicated, I know, but we can break it down by looking at just three key numbers from John's move, let's say a few days in. First up, we've got planned value, or PV. This is the value of the work John should have done by day 6, at least according to his original plan. This is the baseline, this is the goalpost. Next is earned value, or EV. This is the budgeted value of the work he's actually gotten done. Forget what he spent for a second. This is about the value of the tasks he has literally checked off his to-do list. And last but not least, we have actual cost, or AC. This one's easy. It's just the cash that has physically left his wallet to get that work done. Simple as that. So when you put these three numbers side by side, a story starts to emerge. It's pretty cool. First, is he on schedule? We just compare his earned value to his planned value. He's earned about $162 worth of progress, but he planned to have over $260 done. Since EV is less than PV, we know for a fact he's behind schedule. Okay, but is he on budget? Now we compare actual cost to earned value. He's only spent about $154 to get that $162 worth of work done. So he's actually under budget. See? Behind schedule, but saving some cash. So, there you have it.
Two powerful ways to estimate: the quick ballpark guess and the detailed blueprint. How do you decide which one is the right tool for your specific job? The choice really just comes down to this. You use that top-down approach for those early, high-uncertainty projects when you're making big strategic calls. Then, you switch to bottom-up when accuracy and control become everything, especially once you've got a stable, well-defined plan.
And at the end of the day, that choice you make, your estimation method, it really sets the stage for everything that comes next. So, are you going to start your journey with a rough sketch of the map or a precise, detailed architectural plan? The quality of that very first answer is going to shape the quality of your entire project.